You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the March 11th meeting of the LaPorte County Drainage Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
We'll call the meeting to order of the March 11th, 2025 Drainage Board meeting. Stand and have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mark Scarborough,
Here.
Chad Herches,
Here.
Connie Grammarosa,
Present.
Jeff Mitzner,
Present.
Pat Vance, here. John Matwischen.
I have a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Scipio Sunrise Urban Drain Maintenance Project bids.
Okay, we've got three, and Elmer's is a double. He's got both bids in the same envelope.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't afford a second envelope.
Isn't there a letter opener up here?
You got a letter opener down there?
Yeah, knife.
No, it's because I get
That's that side. You got me bring a knife from this side to the jail. Just can't do it into the courthouse.
no thanks, but
You just open it. Okay, this is from Al Ossep Construction. This is a bid for excavator with mulcher, $300 an hour, skid loader with mower, $300 an hour, labor, $100 an hour, not to exceed $20,000 on the project. Price does not include pumping if he needs to pump the water. So that's kind of like on a per hour basis, I guess. Is that what that is? Okay. This is from Beaver Excavating. Mulch, chop, all organic, disc, till, burn, bottoms of all basins.
temporary.
Oh, sorry, it says churn bottoms. Churn bottoms, not burn. Sorry. No spraying, dredging, or removal. Hauling of materials is included in this bid.
No.
No spraying, no dredging, no hauling or removal of material. Okay. Boy, I got to get woke up this morning. Sorry. 21,600. Enviro Services, mulch organic debris where possible into the ground. Some areas may be too deep of water to mulch to ground level, and mulch any small brush as well. Bid of 23,675. So,
You got three bids.
I got three bids. Allsep is the lowest bid with more or less a time and materials bid and not to exceed $20,000 on the project. So that, I guess I would call that the lowest bid. So, anybody got any questions on these bids?
Is there that kind of money in that fund?
Yes.
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 Yeah, there-
And then that will leave some money in that fund for doing some spraying then when we get done. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I move that we accept the one that's maximum 20,000 from Elsa.
Do I have a second?
Seed.
Not to exceed, not to exceed.
So is that going to complete the job?
Should, yes.
It should. I mean, are you pretty confident you can get it done for that? Hopefully you can get it done cheaper? Okay.
Second.
You got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Little Kankakee River Tree Removal Project bids. Vero Services, remove all marked trees and all fallen trees out of the water, pile and burn and buried. Did you mark those trees?
I did.
Okay. $8,550. Allsup. What's that? Oh, okay. Allsup, bid to remove trees from Little Kankakee per specs provided. Price to remove optional tree and under the railroad bridge, see included picture, additional $2,000. But his bid for the same as what Vero Services is $7,500.
Mine includes the trees under the bridge, because I rid them out.
Okay, so that means if yours includes that, then I'm going to add on the 2,000 onto your bid, so that makes your bid 9,500, and Vero's is $8,550. So,
Can I ask one question? We talked about the burning. Does this include burning that debris?
Yeah, it's written on their pile burn,
Okay.
pile burn, and then you're going to bury it?
clean it up, yeah.
Yeah, he'll clean it up. So I got one bid for 9,500 and the other bid for 8,550.
You got a comment?
Yes.
My bid was for the specs, and then it says on the sheet, optional trees. So that's why I did the optional.
Yeah.
So I bid for what the spec is at 75, and then if you guys want to do more, well, that's different. So it's not like what the bid's actually,
Come up to the mic, please.
I don't have the contract with Alan with Also Excavating. The contract, I bid per what the contract spec says, and then per the pictures, it says optional tree, so then we gave a price for the optional tree price, and then also there's an additional tree that was underneath the bridge that wasn't included in the original specs.
Is that where we talked about the leaners there?
Yeah,
The ones that were leaning?
It's in the spec,
The optional tree is there because it's not actually in
the contract.
it's not part of the area we were discussing. It's outside of it, but it's leaning. And I thought it's going to fall in eventually. And I thought since they're out there, it's something they could probably go up and take care of. But it's in a bad spot. It's going to be hard to get to. That's why I put it in as optional. We didn't mark that one either.
Yeah, mine includes that. And the one up under the bridge.
Okay, so your bid then is set for 7,500 for the specs, and then an extra 2,000 to remove the trees from underneath the bridge, correct?
Yeah, if they want to do,
So then that's, well, I'm going to throw that in together because, so that's 9,500. And Elmer says he included that into his, and his bid is at 8,550. So I guess I got to throw those, I got to compare apples to apples when we're trying to figure this out.
yeah, I'm not trying to
Yeah,
split hairs. There was the contract, and then there was basically
Additional.
a separate.
additional, okay. Well, I understand that you're doing that at the contract at 7,500. And he already had that thrown in his bid at 8,500. So,
Yeah, I mean, it depends what the board wants to do. If you want to stick to just what the contract is, you've got one bid for 7,500. You've got one bid for 8,550 that goes beyond that. Or if you want to have those optional trees removed, you got one bid for 8,550 and one for 9,500.
okay. So
Those are your options.
Whatever the board would like to do on that.
I mean, if the equipment's there and the money's in the account, I'd say get rid of all the trees that are leaning. So I'd say Vero's bids.
Money there? Okay. Is that a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion, accept Vero's bid.
Second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
To clarify, that's to include those optional trees. The
Yes.
full project.
The full project.
That's to do the full project, my motion is.
McKellips ditch reassessment.
I've been in contact with Tony in regards to this, and he said that he's done some research and found out that we've already done the 25% increase without the public meeting. But that wouldn't be enough to cover what we need in that account, so I think we need to do the full-blown public meeting.
And one thing to consider, if you're going to consider a full public meeting to reestablish a ditch, is maybe looking countywide to consolidate efforts. I mean, I know, is there a pressing need on this particular, on the McKellips, or?
It was requested back in early 2024. It's been pushed back once already.
I'm not saying make this a year-long project, but if you're going to do it, let's look to see if we need to do it elsewhere too.
So what does this all entail? We got to have a public meeting. Tony, come on up and.
Yeah.
Good morning. Tony Hendricks, Charles Hendricks Associates. Yeah, your options are, once you did the 25% without a meeting, you have to have a public meeting, which you notify everybody in the watershed and you hold a meeting, which usually would fill this room. And if you're going to do that, you might as well look at both sides of that and look at potential a countywide stormwater fee. And if I was the board, I would instruct Brad to look at both of those scenarios to see which way you do it, because Porter County had a fee 5 years ago. I think St. Joe and Stark County are looking. And you have to see how you could start looking at all these ditches, not just the ones that are legal ditches and not just the ones that are assessed or the ones that you guys clean yourself. And I think the board ought to start, not saying you'd go either way, but the board ought to consider all its options. Because this ditch does need to be cleaned, and there's never going to be enough money into it. So your option to clean this ditch would be to get bids, clean the ditch, and then start paying it off through the general fund or borrow some money through the county council. But that would be years and years and years to pay off to clean this ditch. And it's not just this ditch. Every ditch in the county that's not been assessed or legal has been ignored. We just don't have the money or the manpower. It doesn't mean you guys can't keep cleaning your ditches, but you'll get some sort of compensation. And it doesn't mean in Porter County, it doesn't mean you lost all your money that you have in specific ditches. They do get to spend their money. It's just a way to make sure you're working on 5, 10, 20, 40 years down the road when we're all not here. Somebody has a schedule to keep ditches clean. South County is the most important part. So I guess the board would ask Brad to look into all their options for this ditch and all ditches in LaPorte County.
Yeah, and then if the board wants to go that direction, I can come back with a report in April, especially after looking at Porter County, what steps they've taken. I'll work with John, because both Johns, but we'll want to look at that from the county level as far as what other counties have done, where other counties are going with it. And again, that's, if you're going to be doing this for McKellips, you're already making the steps towards this regardless. So we need to know, is this a bigger project overall? And I can report back to that, what your options are in April.
And it's an economy of scale, so if people are watching the meeting, we're not asking for a lot of money. You're talking like $5 a year, 5 or 10 cents an acre. I mean, when you take the economy of scale in the whole county, you start having enough money to start working on everyone's ditches. So you're not talking like $100. You're talking very small amount.
So Tony, how long ago did they do the 25% on this ditch? 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
No, I think it was like the early 90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long time ago. We're going to have Christy
So
find
30
out
years
data.
ago, 35 years ago.
Yeah, you usually do it pretty quickly because you find out that the ceiling's not enough, and you realize that inflation has happened, and it doesn't go as far as you think.
Yeah, just because the price of cleaning has gone up, but the assessments haven't moved as
Yeah, we're
much.
capped by law. Doesn't help us in inflation.
So I guess what's the board's feeling on this? Do we want to look at this countywide? Or do we just want to look at this ditch? Or do we want to look at, you know, I don't know. What's,
Brad, I have a question, Brad. Do we know, or I guess maybe John, would we know roughly like how much money we have in all the different ditches?
For
to
the
give
entire
us-
county,
Yes.
it's about 350.
Yeah, we have that information.
So, like, are we hurting in, what is the percentage of ditches that we're probably hurting in the accounts?
It's a good question. I think that would be what we would need to look into is if we're going to do this countywide.
So why don't we take an assessment? Why don't we first start out with just assessing our accounts and finding out, rather than to jump into it fully and try to raise throughout the entire county, not knowing what we have in all the different accounts. Let's look at the accounts first. Let's see what the percentage is. Let's see what, I know it's going to take a little bit of time, but us actually analyze how much money we have in each ditch account and then figure out how much we're spending on a yearly or a 5-year period of time. And then if the percentage is pretty high, we're really running low in a lot of these accounts, we do countywide. If it turns out that only like maybe less than 20% of them are running low in funds, then we just focus on the area that we need it the most.
well, the problem is with that county is I agree with what you're saying, but I'm thinking out loud here that all these ditches don't have enough money in them anymore to be able to maintain them because, just look at Al's bid was $300 an hour for an excavator. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we were running an excavator for $150 an hour.
Right.
So everything is doubled. So all these accounts aren't going to have any money. And Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but you get south of 6, there's not a ditch that has an assessment on it, correct?
There are a couple, I think.
There's not very many.
Not very many, very
Any ditch
few.
that I work
I'd
on,
say-
I can tell you there's no
I'd say
assessment.
maybe
So
5 to 10% of the ditches in the county have an assessment. There's a lot of ditches that are under your purview that have no assessment. So Connie's right. I think you should just instruct Brad and John to look at your options. And it might be next month, it might be 6 months, it might be a year down the road. But you got to know where you stand right now and what we spend and how short we are on the ditches. And then you could look at, hate to bring up countywide, but you could look at other options.
Right.
You need the data in
It just
front of you.
shows that we're doing our due diligence to the public, that we're not just looking to raise fees right away. I mean, we'll do our due diligence, see what the percentage is. If it's a large percentage where we're really low in funds, then obviously we have to do something countywide. But at least now we can explain to the public why we're doing what we're doing.
And you've got the one issue right now with McKellips. It's not the only one, but
Right.
that's what's in front of you right now. So if we're looking at that, we may as well look broader.
okay, so Connie, is that a motion then?
It is.
Do I have a second on Connie's motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Got homework.
Oh, 'cause I just want to, they're going to bid. They need to bid the contract.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You want to say that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so Mark just brought up a good thing that from now on, we're just going to go by bidding on what the contract is. So that way there's no question on this bid that you guys just did. We're going to bid the contract, and if we have to do more, we're going to turn around and rebid it. I mean, I understand that the excavator's there. It makes it easy to be able to do, but just for being fair, let's make sure that we're bidding just the contract. If there's any add-ons, we need to rebid those or something. So,
Or you need to put it in, or everybody needs to put it in their bid.
yeah,
What the
they
price
put
of the
what the
add-ons.
writing is of what the add-ons is. So, everybody understand that then? So,
Usually they do it by addendum on any other kind of jobs, as long as it's done within a few days. Like say you've got something else you want to do. When we bid a job for South Bend or something and they want to change something, they put out an addendum on the job. It doesn't necessarily have to be all rebid, but they add an addendum onto it a few days before the bid is due.
Somebody comes to the mic.
you come up to the mic.
Yeah.
Come up to the mic,
No.
please.
William Beaver Excavating. What I was saying is, when we bid these other jobs in other counties, or for cities, and a job was to change, like he was to add a tree, taking out a tree or something, as long as the addendum is put out a few days before the bid is due, and then it's, circulated by email, and you have a good trace of that, where it came from, when it was put out, everybody has the opportunity to go back out and look at it, and then it's put into the bid.
Right. Yeah, we can do that, but we just kind of did that today on this one, so we want to make sure it's all fair.
But, you run into that where you're going out, and as a contractor, we're going out, and we're looking at these jobs, we're taking time, we go out and look at the jobs, and you get money in that. Time is money for everyone. And then you get down here, I'm sitting here at the meeting, I've turned in, some places they want bid bonds and different things like that. You've went through all that trouble, and it's like, yeah, we left this off, so we're going to just rebid the job. And we knew it, but we're just going to rebid the job. So it just, the addendum works out.
Yeah.
That's what everybody else does.
Okay. All right, thank you. White Ditch Maintenance Project. We had a meeting on this
Last week.
Last Thursday. I think it was a great turnout. We ended up making some progress, I think, with the homeowners. In the meantime, I've talked to Al. Al, if you want to come to the mic. We talked about going through and running the skid loader through right next to the top of the bank, making it so we can get down through there and being able to mark the trees on the people's property that we're going to do. After talking to Al says it's going to take him too much time to do that. He'd rather just go out there, and I'm going to ask the board's approval to do this, and we'll send this out in a letter, that he's going to go out and just mark the trees either with a marker or some kind of, probably a paint or something to mark them. And we're just going to clear cut, not saying that he's going to take them all down, but these all trees are going to have a possibility of coming down within 75 foot of the easement. So he's going to kind of go out and mark, am I correct on that? Go out and mark the easement to 75 feet. And if there's a mark on your tree, we're not saying it's going to come down, but there's a good possibility that it will come down. Is that what we kind of, and we'll explain that in the new letter when we send that out, so that it's not, he said he can go through and do that faster than what he can do going through and walking through it, and then everybody's going to come out there and they're going to say, well, I want to keep this tree, I want to keep that tree. Nope, it's not going to be that. If that tree's on 75-foot easement and he feels though it needs to come down, you either take it down or he's going to take it down, because he said that there's a couple places where there's pine trees that they have planted, and those people might want to remove their pine trees. So if they want to remove their pine trees and replant them, they'll have ample time to do that. If he goes through the skid loader, he's going to have to mow them down right off the bat.
Yeah.
So if those people want to move those pine trees for now and then move them back, whatever, but they're going to need to know that it's going to be on our easement. Yeah. So do you have anything else to say on that, Al? Or?
Yeah, so basically where the machine's going to be running, I'm going to take like some flags or ribbon and put an area, there's fences, there's shrubs, and instead of just going and mowing through there, since we're bidding this job for the fall anyway, they give them 6 months to move their shrubs, their plants, their yard barns and all that stuff, compared to just trying to mow through there. And that kind of defeats the point of, trying to mitigate less, chaos over there.
Yeah, I think what the public wanted is what you're talking about, is giving them notice of the area or the items that are potential to be removed. Obviously, if you're just going to go in and cut it down, that doesn't do them any good. They wanted prior notice.
Yes. So I think,
and I'd like to ask if maybe I could meet John or a board member when we are doing this, so then if there's anything else while we're doing this, then we can already talk about if there's anything else needs to be done before we start the job.
Okay. Connie.
So I can tell you, I was asked to go look at, we have two culverts on the White Ditch on Michiana Drive and Brookside Drive. And so one of the culverts was clogged, and we were asked to clear out the smaller one. I went out there yesterday with Highway Department. Today they're actually clearing it. But on the property that's to the south, they've got Christmas seedling trees, and probably, 2 or 3 different variations. We're going to try to clear that today. They're out there today clearing it. We're going to try to do it from the bridge. But that's going to be another thing, that they are well within the 75 feet and they're putting in all these seedlings. It's going to become an issue, and I think that the board is going to have to address it.
Okay. So they're cleaning out the overflow pipe, right?
We are.
Okay. Thank you for doing that, for getting that done so that we don't have an issue there.
Anything else?
Yeah. So I'm just going to throw this out there to you. You talk about fall. Is there any way you want to start doing this project a little bit sooner? And the only reason why I'm thinking about that is because if you do it in the fall, we're not going to get any growth on that, on the reseeding. And if you did it more during the summer, if we had a little fall time for that seeding to take hold, is there any way we can move this up a little bit, or do you not want to do that, or what are you thinking?
I think Ken Purse suggested to do it more towards like the winter months, because that's when everybody from Chicago comes in there, and then all the foliage and everything, and gives us enough time to it's easier to do that stuff in the winter time. And then I'm hoping to do it where it's frost so we don't tear up those walk paths. Like if it's during the summertime, we're gonna they're real concerned about the walk paths and all that stuff. So I think if we could do that where the ground's frozen, we won't hardly have any kind of disturbance through anything. Otherwise, it's going to be making ruts.
So if you're going to do that when the ground's frozen, you're not going to reseed that then right away? You're going to wait till spring to reseed that then, or how are you going to do that?
We'll reseed it right after the project. So basically, it'll come up, and we seed in the winter time, and the frost and stuff will help push it down.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done that all the time. Yeah, it always comes up, and if it doesn't, we'll reseed it.
Okay. Anybody got any questions on the white ditch?
Yeah, actually, I was out there yesterday. Basically, when you're walking down it, like around LaPorte and stuff, the north side is the one the walk path is on like the south side. That one's clear all the way past that walking path. Are you talking about mostly those trees on the north side that are right up to the edge and they're just growing right down to the water, basically?
So are you talking by the walk path?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to dig on the walk path side.
Well, no, I mean on the opposite bank. Those trees go right down. They're leaning out from the other side. If the one side where the walk path is, it's graded up nice. It's solid. It's got some growing on it. The other side is sometimes it's 90 degrees with trees in it, which is vertical. So is that what you're talking about? Taking out a lot of those trees, the wild ones over there?
No, just where the machine's going to be.
Okay. Oh, yeah, just so you guys can get through.
Yeah.
Because that split rail's got to come out, too.
Correct.
Go in and out.
Yeah, I think the board, or I don't know who's going to remove that.
The town, I think, is going to remove that.
I would assume.
Remove that stuff for us, right? Is that correct? Yes. So the town's going to remove all that stuff for us, so we don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, basically the machine, wouldn't fit in this room. So
Right.
like where you have to be able to move to do the job site. So we're not going to do, like Tony can contest, we did this 10 years ago and we didn't really have too many.
So he's going to work in the 75-foot easement that he worked with in the last time. So wherever he worked at the last time, that's where we're going to clean up the trees, because the trees are the smallest, and he's going to work in that same area. And that's where he has to work at, because if he doesn't, there's some houses on the other side that's too close to the ditch. He's never going to get in between there. So
Right.
we just made the decision that we're going to clean the ditch from the exact same spot where we cleaned that the last time. So that's how we're going to do that. So wherever the easement is from last time, we're going to go ahead and do that then.
Okay.
So you go ahead and sit down. So I don't want to keep having to bring up this white ditch maintenance. Let's kind of make a decision now on when we're going to send the letters out to everyone, and how we're going to, and what side. We said we were going to send out a drawing or some kind of printout that says which side we're going to be cleaning on, so everybody can figure out where we're going to walk at, what easement side we're going to use, so everybody knows what we're going to do. So when do we want to send this letter out? Or
You want the letter to go before or after he marks? I think that should be
I would like to mark them and then
send the letter
with John, so then he could then know where we're marking it.
Okay.
Then you guys could give you a report, I would assume, and then
When do you think you'll get that done?
I'd say within a month, I'd say.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so then we'll send the letter out possibly in May, or do we, wait, today's March, April, May. Do we want to send the letter out in June?
You know, and I would also suggest that the actual contract that we have where they do it in the 3 sections, we kind of use that basis because that was one of the ones that we read at the meeting and a lot of the folks that were at that meeting found that useful. So why don't we take that letter and under each of the 3 sections, we go ahead and we draw something of what side we're going to be on. I think that would be really helpful to them. And then get it out in June or July because you know what? If you send it out too early, I think people are going to forget. And we're not planning on doing the work until what? September, October?
I'd say fall to Easter, no.
So September, October?
Yeah, when the frost comes in.
Yeah, so,
People want to move trees, and if they got to move buildings, we got to give them some time.
Yeah, I don't think you want to go later than June, maybe even May.
yeah, but if we tell them in July and then, you know, they start prepping for, because here's the problem. Up in that area it's not a permanent residential area. People are just coming to enjoy the summer. And it's going to be a problem if
Well, we won't have a meeting in July because of the fair. So let's
Okay.
try to shoot for
Okay.
June to try to get this letter ready so we can approve the
why don't
letter
we
in
have
June.
Dana?
Yes, please, if I may address the issue. I said the homeowners there are not going to forget about taking care of their property. Okay, people have invested a lot of money in the property. They're not going to forget. Okay, the people who come through as renters, whom we aren't always happy about, won't care one way or the other. But the people who own the property want to have enough time to be able to do this. They want to plan. They want to make sure that they can get whoever they have maybe a contract with, or find somebody to contract with if they have to remove a lot of things. Or if they do it on their own, we've got one family, or they're both lawyers and whatever it is, they love working in their yard. They're not hiring somebody, but they need to have a lot of time in order to get it out because they come out on weekends. So the sooner the better, I think, makes sense, because we're not talking about children forgetting about something. We're talking about homeowners caring about their property. So that's just my own comment.
And if we're talking about marking trees or marking objects within the next month, you don't want those marks sitting there for a month, 2 months, 3 months without any information being given to
Yes.
the public, because
Yeah.
that's where false information comes
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking out loud again. That's kind of scary. I'm thinking we mark these in May. We get the letter ready for us in June so we can get it sent out in June, and we give them till September 1st to remove anything. So that's 3 months. That's more than adequate a time to be able, because that's more than adequate time for them to do anything. So is there,
I'll make a motion. I'll say we'll turn that into a motion.
Can we add in that letter too that this cleaning's going to happen again in 10 years, and we're not responsible for this? So they need to realize what they're putting on this right away.
Yeah.
Is at their own risk?
I mean, that's already implied in the law, but we can certainly put that.
Just
this
remind
isn't a
them.
one-time only.
that might not be a bad idea because they're new people and they might not even know about this law. I mean, the houses are probably buying and selling all the time, so that's a good point, Mark. So we got a motion on the floor.
I second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Rodman Ditch, Davy Arm, Reed Steller, DNR. You might as well come on up because you're going to have to talk. Somebody, so this is where the DNR holds back the water?
Yeah, they divert it to the east there. Yeah. And we're neighbors, I see you guys go by all the time. So, it's been brought to my attention, neighbors to the south, we're getting quite a bit of silt backed up, and I had spoke with every 10 years or so we clean the ditch. I mean, were you here?
Oh yeah, I've been here for 13.
Okay, so
yeah.
that you were in on that the last time.
Yeah.
We speaking with some, the different neighbors and stuff, like for the last year or so, the silt has, came out, and I had spoke with Elmer from Vero Services, and he had told me that years before when he bid this job that they had bid like 500 loads of silt removal from out there, you know, and because I think the Army Corps said that they didn't want the spoils out there at that time because they hauled a few loads up to us up there. Yeah, you can dump it there in the field, and then we spread it out. But you know, with him talking like 500 loads here, you know, to remove out of a mile and a half, you know, he pretty much just kind of spitballed it that it was going to cost more to clean that mile and a half of ditch from silt removal than the other 9.5 miles of the ditch. So we were just kind of, you know, we're all neighbors. We all got to be proactive. Let's figure out a way to kind of cut down on the silt, you know, because usually on our fields, the neighbors' fields, the drainage tiles are always 18 to 24 inches below the water.
Mm-hmm.
And last summer, the closer you got to what we call the game preserve there, the higher the water got. And, you know, the last third of the tiles in the neighbor's farm weren't visible all summer, you know. So obviously it's time to clean the ditch. So we're just trying to figure out some sort of a, you know, we all get together here and put our heads together, try to figure out a solution. I don't know if we're, you know, are we slowing the flow too much with the water to divert? Would a pump be better? You know, this is step one of this process. So I'm just trying to, you know, bring everybody to the table here and let's figure out what we can do to kind of alleviate that. So, because, you know, I mean, if he has to haul 500 truckloads of dirt out of there, you know, that's going to be a serious venture there. So, you know, we're just trying to get some sort of something started here. That's kind of what. Well, River Road, yeah.
I got the bid, and then Joe Savinsky. My bid was $156,000. Joe Savinsky was $67,000, and he hauled 38 loads of material to Chad's farm on a 500.
But didn't you clean along Hupp Road?
Yes.
You cleaned.
Yeah.
You did you guys did the Ridge Run ditch. See, they all meet in there. You did the Ridge Run. And see it's the Breckenridge, the Rodman, the Ridge Run. They all meet there. But yeah, you did. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. If you're going to talk, you got to come up to the mic.
It all ties in.
Yeah, let's just try to keep it to the mic and the board. We're losing the audience.
Just the ridge, or just the, you know, the Rodman arm here this time is gonna, you know, it's get some silt built up in there. So, you know, like I said, we're just trying to come up with some sort of a solution so every 10 years we don't have to haul 500 truckloads of dirt out of there.
Yeah.
So, you know, make it cheaper for the county because it's going to cost more, like I said, to clean that than it is the whole stretch. And so, like I said, I'm just trying to get something started here so we can figure out.
So what was the reasoning for we hauled all the loads out? Why can't we just put the spoils there?
The Army Corps of Engineers said that they were filling in a wetland, correct?
Unfortunately, a lot of our property is classified wetland, so it's hard to put anything on the property as far as spoils and things like that. So,
well, you can't impede. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they can't impede a drainage ditch for the county. We're going to trump that, right?
It's not that simple, but yeah.
Yeah.
For best of my knowledge, so the levee is not considered a wetland. If you put the dirt on the other side, like let's say here's a ditch, and you're taking that spoils, you can't put it in the wetland. But the levee is not actually considered a statute as the wetland. You can put the spoils on.
There's no levee there. It's a road.
Well, I know.
So
but I'm
that's
just
the
saying
problem on this one.
If on most levee.
So what's on the? So we got a ditch next to the road. What's on the other side of the road?
It's all the DNR ground. And when we bid it last time, because I bid it, I got the bid. Delta 3, I was at 156,000. Delta 3 was at 198,000. And what's her name's up in Michigan City, starts with a W. They were at 206,000. Joe Savinsky come in at 67,000. the attorney at the time asked, how are we bidding apples to apples here? And it was brought up by Christie that he knows how to do it. Well, he brought 38 loads of material to Chad. Everyone else bid approximately 500 loads. They would not allow us to put debris, brush, or dirt on the DNR side. Well, they violated that because Savinsky planted all his piles of trees right in the DNR, right behind all the other trees. They didn't make him clean. So if they did that, there's no reason we can't put spoil. You know, so it's not contaminated. It's the water you and I are drinking. So it's all it is spoil that's here that needs to go here. So I think we could probably work something out with Reed on that. I mean, all it's going to do is help build that bank up to make the road more stable too, because it'll hold the water back further away from the road bank. So I don't think there's a reason that we can't put it over there if we work with Reed and, you know, save the county, for God's sakes. 500 loads at $500 a load. I haven't done the math, but that's a lot of money. You know, you're probably, you know, today's price is more than it was 10 years ago. And so I think if we work with Reed on that, we can, you know, work with and place it respectfully. And once it dries out, run a dozer through it and level it off. And, you know, but, and use a sealed bucket instead of one with holes. Because when it was dipped last time, the bucket looked like a block of Swiss cheese. There was probably 2,000 holes in this bucket. It couldn't hold mud if it had to. So use a solid bucket, so when you're swinging across, dump it. At the end of the day, come through with a brush broom, sweep it off, and you should be good.
Had pictures last meeting, didn't we?
So, but I think it could be done if we work with Reed on that. You know, he's pretty easy to work with. So,
and that was my thought. This isn't the time for, we're not going to clean it tomorrow and all that. We have time to get together and come up with a, you know, affable solution here so everybody kind of benefits from that. If you need our place to dump dirt, if there's too much of it there, it's available, you know, I mean, but there's sure plenty of space out there where you guys could probably use it too. So, you know, I mean, we can come up with a solution on everything, you know, we can all get together and figure it out. That was kind of
actually was beautiful soil coming out, short of having branches in it. And tires. Yeah, there were tires, branches. You know, you found that out. You know,
my dad wasn't real pleased. So.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it could be worked out with Reed on that.
Yeah, everything has. There's avenues for everything, but like I said, we'll get it figured out. So every 6 or 8 years, we're not doing this again. You know, that was my thought. We take it from there.
Absolutely, I'll definitely. I mean, I try to be as easy to work with as possible.
Exactly.
So I'm sure we can find somewhere.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
But that was just my thought. You know, I thought, well, the silt is really backing up here. Boy, if we scoop that out again, you know, or could we alleviate this problem in the future? So that was my only concern, and John said that you know, he would get you up here so everybody kind of was on the same page. That was the whole reason behind that. So that was
so
we wanted.
So where are we going to leave this at? You're going to check and see if we can put the spoils.
I'm almost positive I can find you a spot that's not.
Well, we're not going to haul 500 loads. I can tell you that.
Right,
it's $250,000. That's not going to happen.
I'm sure we have the location that it'll be just fine. I guarantee.
That we can put the spoils right next to the ditch.
Yep.
So we can get the location identified, then eventually put it out for bids.
I guarantee we can do that. So
if you get that figured out, get back to us, and then we can put this out for bids to get this, to see where we're at then.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Drain crossing application, North Ditch.
Yeah, we received this one a month ago or so. They're putting in a gas station convenience store on this property, and they're going to discharge into one of our regulated drains. This requires a licensed surveyor to review due to the technical nature of it.
So are they going to have a retention pond?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so I guess I got to have a motion for Tony to review this. Can I have a motion? Did we get a bill from Tony for last month? Tony left. Did we get a bill from Tony for what he's already done?
I didn't get one from him, no.
Okay. So can I have a motion to have Tony review this for us?
I'll make a motion to have Tony review it.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Drain crossing application in the White Ditch.
Okay, this is one we received a couple weeks ago. It's on US 12 on the White Ditch. They're going to replace the corrugated plastic pipe with a precast reinforced concrete box structure. Again, this requires a review by a licensed surveyor.
Let's just spend some more money. Yeah, I have a motion to have Tony review this one.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. When you have Tony do this, can you make sure you get with me and find out how much it's going to be so we know that we have enough funds to be able to pay him? If not, we're going to have to go to the county council.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Tony, he left now, so we can't ask him, but try to give me a heads up a little bit ahead of time so we can get him paid in
Okay.
a decent amount of time. Monthly reports, or is there anything else? Monthly reports, Hudson Lake.
Georgette Joyce, 7299 East Hudson Point Lane, New Carlisle. So the lake is just under 7 inches above the weir. There's been no incidents. The toll hawk is now behaving itself. The annual Lear grant for treating invasive species was awarded, and we did apply to get a grant to do another assessment for a plan for sediment removal for like the north side and others, but that was denied. We have plenty to do with sediment removal, so that's okay. We'll apply next year. Dredging efforts will resume in July. We missed the window to do a little bit in spring because of the ice still being on the lake. And we have signed the drain agreement. So the Hudson Lake Conservation Association will, come April 1st, will start managing the operations of the drain. So so we'll have procedures and processes, and we'll have dedicated cell phones because we'll also accept all the issues that happen on the lake. They'll call us, we'll record them, work with the DNR to make sure we manage that. We have levels declared of how high we can keep the water within and so forth. So, and we'll post things on our website. And so I asked the survey group we need two things. One is it would be good to have training for our team for doing the gate. So John, we'll have to set up training for our team to do the gate. I mean, they've serviced it, so they know a lot, but we should pass the baton, formally. Okay. And then likewise, we should do another calibration of the levels so that we know that the toll talk and the measurement at the weir and the ramp all are within an inch so that we know what we're working with. So yay, good news, I hope.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Anybody got any questions? All right, thank you. Brad?
Nothing we haven't already talked about.
John?
Nope.
John, other John.
Sorry.
Yes. I have some comments in that I'm not getting much communications from the group. For example, simple thing like the minutes approved, I haven't seen them yet. I would have more comments if I knew what was in the minutes. And there's lots of moving parts here. As the discussion went along, the price are escalating. I don't know if there's records being kept of work that's being done. For example, the highway department is cleaning some of the work. That should probably be included in the plans for the future, that the drainage board would have on its own the funds and the resources to do the work that's being contributed by the highway department and other people. But it's an ongoing thing. This drainage is going to be a continuous process. I think rather than deal with projects, thinking along the lines of every year we should do a little bit to mitigate the 500 truckload problem sometime in the future. That's the kind of thing that I think I'd like to see it go.
Okay, your comment on the County Highway. The county highway's doing that out of the goodness of their heart to go
I know,
take care of
yes.
that and do it for us so that we don't
True.
have an issue there.
True.
I was out there, looked at it. I talked to Connie about it. She's taking care of it. Thank goodness that the county highways take care of it, because otherwise, if we had to hire one of these guys,
I agree 100%.
dollars to go out there for 20 minutes just because of the being able to move.
I agree 100%.
So-
But I believe it's coming out of their budget, whereas it should be accounted for in the drainage funds for if you're going to set a fee for taking care of the drains, including the money that was transferred from the highway department fund to the planned budget for the drainage board would probably be good. That's all right.
I wouldn't.
Okay. We'll move on. Joint boards. Before I go to joint boards, make sure he gets the minutes so he can at least look at them.
Okay.
Put him in on the email. Joint boards, I have nothing. We have a meeting with Fork County Thursday. I will not be there. I'm leaving on vacation as soon as this meeting's over with, so I will not be there. And nothing else on any other joint boards. We got any claims?
No claims.
No claims. Any public comment? Again, I just want a public comment. I want to thank the county highway for what they're doing. They're doing a lot of stuff for us. It's great to have to be able to work with Charity and the guys down south on different things that's going on so that we can get things done. So I really appreciate what the county highway is doing for us. So with that, I have a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
A second.
Next meeting, March 11th at 8:30 in this room.
That's today. Next meeting, April 8th.
Oh, that is wrong. April 8th. April 8th? Next meeting, April 8th.